So we're making our way up this pitch here. Al isn't with us today, he couldn't make it tonight, so me and Tom have gone ahead to try and find the second water wheel, underground water wheel, and we've made a discovery which blows the last water wheel out of the water completely. So I'm not going to say anything else about it. I'm going to just film as we make our way back up here now. We brought in lots of rope, as you can probably see, and we're about half a mile underground now, pushing through workings where no one had been since the 1800s, the late 1800s. And as I just said, we've made a spectacular second discovery, which just blows the first one out of the water entirely. That water wheel, that buried water wheel that we showed you last time. So this is part 2. Here we are at the top of the next pitch. We brought in this ladder to help us. That's where we've come from, through that hole there. This is the 7th pitch, the 7th rope that we've had to set up in this huge mine to try and get to the ultimate goal, that second underground water wheel, which would be the 4th ever to be found intact in the UK, following the 3rd, which we found last week, buried down there, which we showed you. So we're now faced with this. Some nice copper formations here. Once again, as I said before, no one had been here since the 1880s, 1890s, when we got in here earlier today. And, well, yeah. And what we found, I just can't get over it. Can't get over it, and it's up through there. I've got to scramble through all of this. The chain. Sorry about the wobbly camera. It's just me, myself and I on the camera today. Could do with that gimbal that Al has, really, but there we are. So working our way up through the stopes in this old metal mine. And then this is number 2, next level up from the one that we were walking on earlier. And clamber into this level. You can see it goes off that way. Just goes through a collapse, unfortunately. Nothing spectacular down there. But there's this climbing chain, which the miners connected to that stemple right there, which drops over the edge of this platform. And Tom's already over there. And that is where the discovery is. So I'm going to shimmy down here now, and then I'll show you what we found. Now this is it. After months and months of exploring, digging and bolting, this is the engine shaft with the original iron pumping rods still in situ. And up there is the angle bob. You can see the wooden triangle up there. That's the angle bob, counterbalance. And next to it is a huge, entirely wooden water wheel. All intact. And it's shown on the 1845 mine plan. So it's at least 178, 180 years old. So not only is it the only, as far as I'm aware, the only intact wooden water wheel yet found in the UK, but is also the oldest. Now that there is an artifact, a completely game-changing artifact, and we found it tonight in March 2023, seen for the first time since the 1880s. So what Tom's doing now, he's over on the other side. He's bolting a rope up because this is vertically above us. So we're going to try and get up there and get up close and personal with it. But that there is artifact of the year. Probably artifact of my lifetime, to be perfectly honest. You don't see a 30-foot diameter underground water wheel every day. Intact, not before seen by any of the modern explorers. So let's get up there. There it is. Massive underground water wheel. Look at it, absolutely huge. Just climbing up to the back side of it now. It's absolutely huge. And no one has been up here for over 140 years. We're the first ones to stand here in over 140 years. So you can see the old axle box there. The frame on this side holding the axle box has collapsed, but the frame on the other side still complete. Look at this. This is the best artifact that I think I can ever hope to see and to find, to discover underground. Completely never before seen in modern times. So we're going to come back and measure it properly. Now that we've finished bolting up to this and we've found it, we're going to come back and measure it properly, because the diameter looks to be about 30 foot. But we're going to find out exactly the diameter when we come back next time. Anyway, let's go up and have a look at that angle bob. Check it out. Look at it. I genuinely can never get over this. Here's our water wheel. And that's Tom going down to get his camera down in the level beneath. So there's our water wheel. Just look at it. And behind us, now that there is a balance bob. So that wooden crate at the back, that held a balance weight, probably a pile of old scrap iron piled up in the box. And then this big wooden king post here is pivoted on the floor, so that as the rod that I'm standing on top of, connected to the water wheel crank right there, as the wheel goes round, that rod goes round like the coupling rods of a steam train. And then the weight in that box on the balance bob helps pull the rods that way to offset the weight of the pumps, which are over there. And you can see the angle bob over there, which is a similar thing to that thing behind me, but it changes the direction of the rods from moving horizontally to moving vertically up and down in the rising main, in the pumping column, in the shaft, to pump the water out the mine. So when the weight of the pumps go down in the rising main, that pulls them that way. And then when it has to come back, pulling the weight of the water with it, the little balance bob over here counterbalances the weight. Therefore, the whole assembly is completely balanced. And you can see up in the roof there, there's a wooden box launder poking its head down. That's the water supply for the wheel. So it's fed in through one of the upper levels, down in these box launders and then onto the wheel. And the wheel spun counterclockwise. You can see the direction of the buckets here. It has some iron stays part way around, but the bulk of the construction, as in the spokes and the felloes, are all wooden, including the axle. It's got a huge, big, square wooden axle with metal cast iron strapping around the outside of it. But the axle is entirely wooden. And then we've got the iron crank and the iron pump rod here as well. But the most of the wheel, the bulk of the wheel, is wooden. And as I said earlier, this is the fourth underground water wheel yet found in the UK, intact, in the modern era. And it's the oldest one of them all, I'm pretty sure, over nearly 200, at least 200 years old. It dates from at least 1845. And this is the first time it's been seen since the 1880s. And we have just found it. So this is going on this is going to be written up properly. I'll write this up in an article to sort of survey, commemorate it. We're going to document it, record it, and then so that it's all recorded and documented. Way of climbing up. We're just trying to clear some of the rocks to make it a bit safer to get up. Some of the rocks that are leaning against the wheel. Doing a bit of gardening to clear them out a bit. Yeah. Just getting another view looking over there. And the crops. Huge. Absolutely huge. Yeah. Just getting another view looking over there. And the crops. Huge. Absolutely huge.